r/AskReddit, what is denied by everyone but is actually 100% real. Just how real family dysfunction is in many cases. So many people just turn a blind eye to it. I just found out my mom had a secret child in high school she put up for adoption and no one ever talked about, and honestly it kinda relieved me because my family always felt too stereotypically atomic, and finding out that was our hidden dysfunction was a relief. Like, yeah, I knew there had to be something, and that checks out. If it is happening to someone else, it can happen to you. A Calvin and Hobbes comic always stood out to me as a kid. Their house gets robbed while they're on vacation and the dad talks about how you always think about this kind of thing happening to someone else. The mom says to everyone else, you are someone else. Parents having a favorite child. I don't care for gob. Double standards in almost everything. Yes. My friend posted a picture of her toddler sleeping and everyone thought it was precious and adorable. I do the exact same thing and I'm creepy and trespassing. I didn't even go into his room. I took the picture from outside his window. The worst thing you can imagine happening to you can happen to you. One deer is in the way and now I've lost the person I love the most. It can happen. No matter how bad. It can happen to you. Happened to me recently too. Sorry for your loss. 93% of children who were molested by someone they personally know and trust, not stranger danger. That their job is secure and they'll never be let go. I made it through multiple layoffs including during the pandemic only to be laid off last week. Thankfully I had already updated my resume and had started looking, but no job is ever 100% secure no matter what. The graveyard is filled with irreplaceable people. Rampant physical and medical abuse in mental health facilities. And care facilities for the elderly. At least in the US. Even the places that are charging like $10K or more a month are often paying their staff shit wages, which contributes to neglect and abuse. Staffing issues also mean the hiring standards are abysmally low. As a nurse's aide, that's so true. Even in retirement homes it's crazy with the abuse. I've been to a psych ward and it made me even worse. You don't have to be a bad person to end up in prison. And, not all prisoners are guilty. Americans already pool money for healthcare, they just do it through a wholly unnecessary, greedy middleman that grossly jacks up the price and denies care. You deserve more upvotes. It is all lobbying and people need to fucking wake up. Sometimes your teacher actually does hate you, regardless of what your parents say. Also, children who are sex trafficked are very, very rarely white children abducted in public with rich loving families who would have the entire country looking for them. A lot of conspiracy theorists refuse to acknowledge that poor minority children in bad communities and especially undocumented children are the biggest victims. I've seen this with a few people. We've all heard of instant attraction. Then there's instant hate. We are not the main character. Everyone has similar shit going on. Everyone has their own challenges and don't even know you exist. The world doesn't revolve around you. You're a tiny blip in existence. It honestly makes my life a lot easier knowing that. I care a lot less about being embarrassed now. Money doesn't buy happiness. Watch me leave IKEA full of joy with a 100 centimeters plush shark. Sorry, but I rather cry in a brand new Audi with a 100 centimeters plush shark next to me than cry on a bicycle held together by thoughts and prayers. Aging, it's not a disease, it's not faulty, and despite, lucky or unlucky, attempts to evade, it's still going to happen. No it won't, cause I have that new night serum that will slightly delay the decay of my exterior layer. People tend to treat you based on fuckability/attractiveness. They like to say they don't, but it's simply not true. Old woman here, can concur. It's very weird on the day after your last fuckable day. You suddenly realize you were absolutely nothing special, just young. Everything fades. You can do absolutely everything right and still fail. Not this drip. This drip will never fade. They actually do put stuff in the water that makes the frogs gay. Okay, technically it's not making them gay, it's making them hermaphrodites. It's a pesticide called atrazine. Oh, it's like Jurassic Park. You are never as smart as you think you are. What if I think I'm as smart as I think I am? That they pick their nose and pee in the shower. The shower is the absolute best place for nose picking. This sub is just an endless repeat of the same questions. Nobody denies this. Cynicism feels way smarter than it actually is. On the flip side, you can do everything wrong and still have success. Marijuana addiction is a thing. Dated a person who was insufferable if we drove for 2 hours and he couldn't get a drag. Also, he didn't want to travel to places where he couldn't get it. I'd call that an addiction, I think. Yeah. My vice is a glass of wine with a nice meal, but if it's not there, it doesn't make me irritable. I'm convinced a significant percentage of parents regret having kids at all. And they might not even admit it to their partners. I have a friend like that. She loves her kid, but she hates not being able to do literally anything besides work/kid for 10 years straight. The negative effects of alcohol, not on the individual but on the societal level. Just look up fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, link, think of traits you don't like in people and go compare. I'm of the opinion that folks can drink if they want to drink, but the lengths people will go to justify this habit are absolutely concerning. How often do you hear the "well, in moderation it's actually good for your heart" myth repeated as though it hadn't been thoroughly debunked? Great answer. Alcohol is basically a socially acceptable drug addiction. Getting angry with other drivers when roads are crowded and you complain about all the traffic. You are the traffic. Most people live in a made-up fantasy world where they are the main character. Edit: this is not bad. It can, however, be limiting and damaging to believe one's own subjective experience and reality is the same experience and reality of anyone/everyone else, especially when forced upon others. Silence: background character, you're distracting me from my mission. And my favorite, not everything is a lesson. Sometimes you just fail. Everyone is susceptible to depression. It doesn't matter how happy you are, or how insensitive/dismissive you are of people who have/had it. It could get you too. Under the water, the fish don't stink. Caffeine addiction is the largest drug addiction in the world. Going through 9 months of an uneventful pregnancy only to find out their heartbeat stopped out of nowhere. You're not always guaranteed to have a healthy baby. Thanks, Gene Luck Pickard. It can't get any worse. It can always get worse. 2 days ago I said, it can't get any worse. As I sat on the toilet for the 3rd day in a row while diarrhea flowed from my ass and I puked into a bucket. I have the stomach flu. I'm writing this while sitting on a toilet and diarrhea is flowing from my ass while I cough and wheeze from a cold. I still have the stomach flu also. Kids are plague monsters.